Hello again. This is another video on contemporary folk magic. And this is one of the problems with folk magic is it's still rooted very much in the past. It's still rooted in the agrarian past. We most of us don't live in rustic farmhouses in the country anymore. And so a lot of the stuff to do with that kind of agrarian, sort of arcane folk magic isn't applicable today. And on this channel down below, or one of my channels, I did a video on how microwaves could be used to charge sigils. Now, that's or to sort of destroy an energy force or something like that. This is in the same vein. This is contemporary folk magic, and this is in relationship to pillows. Now, a pillow is something that we take for granted, but when you think about it, you will spend half of your life nearly on pillows. So there, and that's where you're dreaming, that's when you're making love, that's when you're terrified or frightened, or you have the dark night of the soul. And when you think about it, an awful lot of energy is poured into the pillow. And you could die on a pillow, you could conceive children on a pillow, and yet we don't really think about pillows very much, and in terms of them holding energy or anything like that. Now, this first came to my attention years ago when I spoke to an exorcist, and an exorcist said to me that the real difference that they discovered between, say, a regular haunting and a demonic haunting was people in a house where there was a demonic entity would hear voices coming through their pillows. And very common, very, very common. They'd be lying in bed at night and they would hear like alien noises, like those kinds of sounds in their pillows. And that's because the pillow was it's because think about it. Up until the demonic, actually, this is why the person asked me why they heard the voices, and I solved it for them. I said, as these demonic occurrences were happening in the house, this would cause an awful lot of stress for people. The people would lie on their pillows at night, worried about sounds or things moving in other rooms, quite frightened. So it's all going into the pillow. So the entity would use the pillow as a break in the firewall, because we know that they harvest fear and they use fear to get into you. And so it would be in the pillow going, and that would be like you'd know how you'd have demonic activity. And we never think about this. We never think about when we go on, like I travel an awful lot and I stay in hotel rooms. Now, I could be laying on a pillow where someone conceived a baby, was in love, drug raped somebody, murdered somebody, was terrified of something, on the run, was very happy, was enjoying their holidays, and there's all kinds of emotions poured into that pillow. It doesn't really affect you so much in hotels, because if you read my book Sorcery, you'll know how much cleanliness, often many supernatural events can be just taken care of by cleaning your home. This is why it's harder for people in big mansions, in these old country estates, to control these paranormal spiritual activities, because it's far too difficult to repaint, clean the house, take the carpets up and throw them out. Where if you live in a small house and you have this problem, well, what you do is you paint, you get the painters in, this kind of thing, and you clean all the corners especially. And this is where that all came from, the devil in the details. Now, the the same thing with the pillow in the hotels. They're not like the pillows you get at home. They're like an industrial grade pillow, and they have an undercasing underneath them. And every time you go, your laundry is changed. If it's one's not a skanky motel or something like that, the pillowcase is washed, and the undercase is washed usually every couple once a week or once a month, depending on if it needs it. So therefore, there's a kind of a barrier of cleanliness between you and the pillow, but you may not wash your pillowcases as much at home. And this is one of the reasons you're very vulnerable at night to psychic attacks, spiritual attacks, spiritual tormenting. And a great thing to do with that is to get yourself a pouch or a sock a wool sock, and fill it full of organic sea salt, and put it under your pillow. Not it doesn't have to be where your head is lying. It'll be on the other side of the pillow, and you will find that that will deal with a lot of that stuff. And that's what that's about. The pillow is something that's not giving due consideration in in uh, in magic and in the supernatural, but it's one that's definitely uh, you must consider. Just as a default, when I'm on the road or I'm staying in another person's house, I always bring uh, a little bag of organic sea salt. That's not. I'm not insulting the people I'm staying with, or I'm not saying they had. It's just someone like me, who I am. I do attract spiritual forces, both in of themselves and also through psychic attacks and things like that. So I have to do it anywhere to protect the host as much as, or the next person in the hotel room, as much as to protect me. So always remember that one. That's another one of the contemporary folk magic thing. Your pillow and your pillow casing. Keep your pillowcase washed as much as possible and changed a lot as much as possible, and change your pillows as much as possible, especially if you've gone through a terrible period in your life. Say you've dealt with some really bad emotional difficulties, like your heart is broken, or yeah, you're worried about your job, or you've been bullied at work or something like that. Don't keep that pillow after things have gotten better, because all that negative energy we poured into that. So remember that one. Folk magic is a living thing. It's not an agrarian tradition. It is in the modern home. Folk magic applies to IKEA as much as it does to the farmhouse. See you. Bye.